When you're young, you think life's going to be perfect. But as you get older, you realize how tough life really is. Success was probably started when I went in the military. It was a great thing for a young kid coming from a real small town in Indiana. And then when I got out of the military, I went into the drywall business, and I was very good at it. I was committed, I was fast, and I made quite a bit of money, and I ended up injuring my back really bad. I couldn't walk, I could barely crawl. I had to have people help me do everything. That injury started a downward spiral in my life that I could never imagine how far down it would take me. They started me on very heavy narcotic pain relievers. There was so much corruption and so much misuse of the prescriptions, they didn't want to fill prescriptions anymore. That's when someone introduced me to heroin. Under a year of starting heroin, I ended up losing everything and was on the streets in Orlando, scraping out a living any way I could. I was panhandling and doing whatever I had to do, sleeping in the filthiest places. I was going to die out there, just like my son. Losing my son, was like the final straw in my life. I was so desperate to try and get some help. I didn't want to give addiction and this drug and the streets and desperation anything else, any more of my life than I've already given it. I got caught in possession of heroin and went to jail. That's when I met Miss Sherry Claudio.
So our role is to provide outreach services to veterans in the jail. That entails going to the jail and meeting with these veterans face to face. And when I met Mr. Holloway, one thing that he shared with me that I particularly remembered is he said, if I'm released to the streets, I know I'll go back and use. And my goal was to prevent that.
And God bless Sherry Claudio. She actually came all the way to Orange County Jail and picked me up and took me to a program until a bed opened at the domicile.
One issue for Mr. Holloway, as well as many other veterans, is he didn't have any identification. So the VA has a strong partnership with iDignity, where we actually have outreach social worker on site that is at every event.
They sent me there and I got an ID. Within a week I had a Social Security card in my hand, and within a couple of weeks after that, they phoned me and said they had my out-of-state birth certificate. Here all this time I lived on the street. You don't have any hope because no place will take you. Nobody wants you without identification or documentation. At those events, there's a long line of people who are desperate for ID. iDignity is a blessing to the community because it really puts a lot of people back on their feet. Without those documents, I would have never gotten into the Section 8 housing. And I got a job, which is awesome. And now I work at the Amway Center. It was such a blessing that iDignity's here in Orlando to help people who are down on their luck. I had to learn how to have some joy in my life without, the use of drugs to make me happy. I went back to my roots and started swinging a golf club again, and found out, I could still play a little bit. And so I'm really into golfing whenever I can afford to go out there. You'll catch me on the links.
So I'm extremely proud of Mr. Holloway. It was wonderful to see him today. He truly does look like a different person.
iDignity really came through for me and gave me the hand up I really needed.